Hello and good evening. I'm so glad you're here. Welcome to the Speakeasy. I'm Jeff Belanger. All are welcome, so please do come in. There's plenty of room. You can sit over there or over here or wherever you want. Tonight is really exciting because there's meaning and content. There's going to be music. I brought old Bertha here, so let me put that down because we'll get to it later. I promise. For those of you who are fans of that racket, we will get to that. And take this off a little bit. So the reason this whole thing started, of course, is because of this invisible virus that we all hate called Corona. And it got us all locked in and trying to figure out, how do we connect? How do we get social? How do we do that? And so the Speakeasy was born of that, me just missing drinking with my friends. So also one other thing, sorry, before we get too far, please like and share, start your watch parties right now so people can join us here in the Speakeasy, because we really hate drinking alone. And that's a problem. If we're all together, then it feels like, we meant to do it. So anyway, back to Corona. The coronavirus has changed the world, of course. It's changed every part of our lives. And I wanted to start tonight, if we could, before we get to our main guest, I wanted to bring someone back, someone who's been on before. And I'm calling this little segment Corona Stories. Your Corona Stories. Look at that graphic. It's terrible. But I apologize for that. But I want to share a story from someone you've met before, who's been on the Speakeasy before, and just to talk to someone about it. So please welcome Jay from Slamabama.
What's going on, buddy?
Jay, that's, so talk to me, my man. What happened?
Well, last Friday, I suddenly got really, really sick. And immediately we had a show, Slamabama had a show scheduled that night.
There you are.
We canceled it. There we are. I'm much more well there. We canceled the show. I immediately went and got tested and tested positive. And then
hold on.
Yes.
As soon as you hear you tested positive, what's the thought? How are you feeling at that moment?
It's a weird feeling. I mean, it's a weird, but it was, but it wasn't. Cause I think, you're at the point now where you're like, everybody's either going to get this thing, or you're going to know somebody who's got this thing. So, I did a video on the Slamabama page about it. The stigma behind it is now, it's all gone. You're going to get it, or you're going to know someone who's going to get it. And, it's, at first it's, you get that little weird, scary feeling because, obviously you hear terrible things in the news and everything else, but it's just, for me, it's just been a really, it's just a brutal, virus that you just keep thinking you got it beat and you don't, But anyway, my wife, of course, who's the singer Rosanna in Slamabama, she's positive as well, as well as our drummer, Alec. Our bass player Dennis is not, and we think we kind of figured out when it all happened, and how we kind of traced to where it started. I don't believe it happened at a show. Actually, I believe it happened in my own house. I think my drummer may have contacted it, and then he came over, hung out with me for an hour, and I think I got it right there, gave it to Rosanna, and because our shows have been highly socially distanced, they've been very safe for us. We just did a show in Colorado a couple weeks ago. There wasn't a fan within 25 feet of us, and we were outdoors.
How's that different than a regular show? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Come on. If we can't laugh, we can't laugh.
Big up the sick guy. I get it. No. But it is, it is very different actually. And it's kind of it's a weird feeling to, that's nice too. Thank you.
I didn't even think of that. Oh my God.
I bet you didn't.
I'm sorry. Sorry. Go on.
No, but anyways, it's a very weird feeling when you find out you have it, and then after you find out you have it, you just realize that you're just going to have it, because there's really not a lot you could do about it, but kind of treat it with some acetaminophen and some zinc and vitamin C and try to ride it out.
Don't make me read the text you wrote me about how it feels, but can you remember what you wrote? It was so well written.
As far as symptomatic and stuff.
No, like how your body felt.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's a really brutal fever that kind of goes and comes. And with that fever, kind of depending on where your temperature lies on the thermometer is how bad your symptoms kind of move with it. So, I described it to my friends as it feels like you've gotten the flu, you've gotten a sunburn, then you've been in a car accident. And that's really how it feels. You got body aches that are just brutal. You have headaches. Your eyes hurt when you look back and forth. Then I ended up with like this sunburn feeling, but because you get a lot of nerve inflammation. So I feel like I have a sunburn that runs across the middle of my back that comes around like my upper stomach, abdomen section, and your clothes feel really painful sometimes, you know, when you have a spike. And then the headaches and stuff like that. And then, you know, the one thing that a lot of people say they have, and I didn't list this because I don't feel like I've really had it, is the loss of taste. I feel like I feel like it's dulled a little bit, you know, like Rosanna and I actually had pizza a couple of nights ago because we are still hungry and we're still eating, you know, we're having soup and stuff too, but we wanted some pizza. We just kind of want to treat ourselves. We had some pizza and it just didn't taste great. You know what I'm saying? It's not like I couldn't.
Well,
I just didn't want it, but I also think that's just a loss of appetite more than a loss of taste.
What kind of music are you listening to right now?
I'm sorry.
What kind of music are you listening to right now? Yeah.
Well, generally I'm 99% listening to Duran Duran half the time because I'm a massive Duran Duran fan.
There's the loss of taste.
Oh, you know, God, man, you set me up left and right.
That's great. Nothing but
wow.
God darn it. Duran Duran's pretty good. They're pretty good. And I've heard you perform them. And anyway, Jay, I really appreciate you coming on just to share this because you're a real person. And I wanted people to just hear from someone because there are some people out there, believe it or not, who don't know anyone who's had it. So I appreciate you just being a guy that just.
Well, I appreciate you having me on. And one thing I would like to say to people out there, you know, and I'm not a political guy and I will never be a political guy when it comes to this band. Just please be careful and try not to get it. I'll just put it that way. Just, you don't want it.
Yeah. So thank you, brother. I really appreciate it. I hope you kick this a lot faster than you kick that rash I gave you.
Thank you. I was able to get rid of that, even though I'm allergic to penicillin, but it worked it out. So.
Yeah. Good.
Awesome. Thank you, buddy.
Thank you, man. Be safe. Take care. Feel better, and check in with me. All right, when you're on the mend. All right.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for checking in with me.
Take care, Jay. All right. My love to Roseanne too.
Thanks.
Right. That's it. It's a real person. That's Jay. He's been on here before with his wife, Slamabama. They've been, you know, playing songs for us and stuff like that. And so I just wanted you to hear from him. Okay. So moving on, we are going to get to our main guest now. This weekend, there's an event coming up, a live event, a 4-day live stream from the Lizzie Borden Murder House in Fall River, Massachusetts. Yours truly will be part of that. And tonight, we're there right now. Let's just get to it. The host of the whole weekend, Susan Slaughter.
Hi, Jeff. Nice to finally meet you.
Nice to be met, Susan. Do you have coronavirus?
I do not. I tested negative 2 days ago, and I had to show the government's officials of Massachusetts that so I can actually get here.
Yes, we are very, very strict that way. You know what they call us here in Massachusetts?
Massholes?
Massholes. That's right. And for a reason. It's not an insult. We wear it with honor. Like there's bumper stickers. You can drive down the road and see that. So
oh yeah.
Okay, so
I can just meet a person and see it.
I'm
just kidding. I have so many friends from Massachusetts that I feel like I could rag on them a little bit.
You can. We can take it. We can take it. So you are in the Lizzie house right now.
I am. I'm in the parlor room.
In the parlor room. So is that the room Andrew Borden met his end? Or
no,
the front room?
That's next door.
Yeah. So I know where you're in the front.
We're keeping all the juicy spots for the events this weekend.
Okay. So first of all, and you're having a drink with me tonight? What are you having?
I am drinking a Pinot Noir.
Oh, fancy.
It is, Sacred Hill Pinot Noir from New Zealand. I'm not paid to do this, but they should. Lifetime of wine. Thank you.
Well done. Well, so I'm going to join you. Wait, hold on. I'm not ready. Oh. Not ready. So it's empty. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bougie up this Corona.
Ooh.
And put it in a wine glass because I'm classy like that.
I mean, you do look pretty classy and dapper right now with that vest and bow tie.
Am I right? Cheers.
Yeah. Cheers.
There you go. All right. Cheers, everybody. Glad you're all here. It tastes better in a wine glass. There you have it.
Most things do, even sparkling water. Fun fact.
Yes.
Fun fact. Lizzie Borden does not carry wine glasses because it's a dry house. Hence why I'm drinking out of this tumbler instead.
Yes. No, they, Mr. Borden is funny that way, as you're going to probably find out. Now, is this your very first time in the Lizzie house?
It is my very first time here. So I just got kind of a tour today and vibed the place a little bit. I am spending the night in the room where Lizzie's mother passed away in. So that's going to be interesting.
It's
funny to me because as I'm walking throughout the house, I'm like, trying to vibe places and be like, where's a place I could actually get some sleep? And I went up to the 3rd floor and we're like, oh, maybe I'll stay on the 3rd floor. The other tech guys that, Bill Brock, he's here too, like setting up all of our cameras for the weekend. Cause there's cameras in every single one of these rooms. They're going to be live streaming 24/7. So I was like, oh, he could stay on the 2nd floor. I'll be on the 3rd floor, where none of the murders happened, But funny enough, I go on the 3rd floor and I feel like that place has the most heaviest vibe in the entire bed and breakfast. And I was like, I don't know. I think that bedroom where Lizzie's mom died feels way fresher and nicer. Like I'm going to stay there instead. So I actually chose to stay in that room.
Right.
Because it just had better vibes, as weird as that sounds. Like it's just a refreshing little section corner room. All the windows were open. This is such a lovely home. I love all the furniture. Like it's fantastic.
So it's got the nice vibes until you look at the crime scene photo, which is right on the wall, right to the left of your bed. And you go, oh yeah, that's where Abby Borden was murdered. Of course, not her mother, her stepmother. Important to know.
Yes.
Right.
So
yes.
Stepmother. That's correct.
Stepmother.
I'm still so what I know about the Lizzie Borden trial are things that most people have learned from pop culture. I chose to listen to the historians, I guess, interpretation of what happened. The people who know the true story are all involved with this property. So I'm waiting to get that, because there's a lot of hearsay on the internet, a lot of false facts, fake news around the whole trial. So I'm hoping to learn as I go this whole weekend along with the viewers.
Sure.
I also asked them not to tell me about some of the stuff that goes on in the house because I'm going to be staying here. And I want, if anything were to happen to me,
right,
that I would be able to corroborate any of these stories. So hopefully I get some experiences that I could bring to the staff and the historians and other investigators and see if they match up,
Totally. So you're staying in the guest room. Here's a quick fun fact about that room. Nobody has ever survived the entire night in that room. Everybody's died that's tried.
Well, then I'll get the answer sooner than later.
Yeah, which is amazing. Which is totally amazing that you're brave enough to do that. Well done.
I'll see you on the other side.
That's what I'm saying. We'll talk to you on Friday with a Ouija board.
Yeah, there you go. I'll just possess one of you guys. It's more, to the point.
Possess Bill Brock. It's fine. So how does a girl from Southern Florida get to sitting in the Lizzie Borden house right now? Just fill me in from birth to today.
I think most people that get involved in the paranormal have personal experiences. And since I was a little girl, one of my earliest childhood memories are of ghosts. And I think, the first person that ever kind of told me that you can measure ghosts with electronic devices was actually my father. And before he passed away, he actually got one of the first K2 meters that was a first generation K2 meter for me. I remember.
Sorry, how old were you when your dad died?
Well, my father passed away when I was 18, but my K2 meter got in my hands when I was about 14.
Well, hold on. Don't jump ahead. Stay with me. That's pretty young to lose your father. I mean, I know you're technically an adult, but still. And he's already got you into ghosts. What's that like when he passes?
Well, actually, a very interesting thing is my father passed away from a very similar way that Lizzie's parents died. He was murdered brutally, stabbed 13 times with a carving knife. And so I feel like if anybody were to understand what it's like to lose a parent in a very brutal fashion, it would be me. So I kind of feel very empathetic towards this situation, which I think is why I was a little nervous to come here because I do have opinions on kind of I don't want to use the term exploitation of like, you know, people's family traumas and things like that, but I think you could learn a lot from, you know, from a psychological standpoint on what's happening, a true crime standpoint, and paranormal. So there's a lot of things you could learn here at the Lizzie Borden House. Kind of scratching at the surface a little bit of my personal experience. But yeah, my father passed away very brutally by my uncle who had killed him.
Oh my
and
God.
His own brother. And, you know, it's the oldest stories in the book, you know, since Cain and Abel, you know, and, you know, Lion King, you know, it's, and there is a rumor that, you know, Lizzie Borden's uncle might have been involved in this murder as well. So I just, you know, little things like that I feel like if anyone were to tap into the energy in this house,
right,
it would be someone like me with that awful past as well.
So, all right, don't stay with me for a second. So that's an incredible deal of pain. I mean, I can't imagine. I've never gone through something like that. And how do you get by that? How do you get by that? It was a relative that did it. And what does that do to you? You're at such a transformative age. You're 18. You're becoming an adult legally, but obviously not an adult yet in all other ways. That takes time. But like, I mean, did you? What's it like? How do you come to grips with that for people that may have also lost a family member?
It took me a very long time to come to grips with that. It was something that. Well, it was weird because I was really close with my uncle and I could never imagine someone like him who was always so gentle with me. I grew up with him. Like we lived together at one point. I remember like my uncle needed a place to live and for like a year and a half, we were sharing a room and he was like the coolest guy in the world. And I always looked up to him, you know, and he used to always get me toys and always tell me how much he loved me. I could have never understood how he would do something like that. And I do think there are points where, you know, he was becoming a little disillusioned and like unstable, but I didn't see that in him. You know, it's weird. It makes you, for a while because of that, it makes you very skeptical of people's intentions throughout life. That's the big stain that happened on my psyche, is that I don't really trust people and their intentions anymore, because like my own family member had betrayed me and his own brother, who they were like best friends, you know? So, and not only that, like he had intentions to kill other members in my family, but my brother managed to survive the attack by breaking out of a window. And I was on my way up to the house with my mom, and he had planned on like, you know, he planned this whole thing out, premeditated the whole thing. And I came to the house thinking I was going to visit my dad and my family, because my brother was living with my dad and my uncle at the time, working in the business together. And I come to a crime scene and my brother covered in blood, you know, and it's just like literally the worst thing, and an open crime scene. So I get to really see the aftermath of everything. And the trauma of like having to deal with a crime scene, because, you know, you have the aftermath of all of that. So you're hiring forensic cleaners to come in and clean up all of the house and all the traces of blood. And the entire house was, you know, I mean, I lived in that house afterwards for about 6 months to kind of carry over the business and put the house on market. And it became known as like the murder house in the neighborhood. It was kind of really high profile.
That's
it was all over the news. And I was in senior year in high school and I had to leave. I was going to a really prestigious art school in Miami. And I had to leave that program behind just to handle my father's death and transition of the business. And yeah, it was who I was when I was 18 died when my father died. And I had to change very quickly, like grow up incredibly fast, because all of a sudden now me and my brother are owners of Lloyd's of London insurance brokerage, and flying to London and having to prove that somehow his kids are going to take over this company and make it work.
Wow.
And it was a lot to put on at the time. I mean, before that, I was like, you know, 18-year-old, like just partying, going to shows, like hating school, you know?
Yeah. Gosh.
It was really weird.
Susan, I really appreciate you sharing that with us. I mean, I know how deeply personal it can be, but I also think that sharing these stories connects us, right? Because I mean, God, I can't even imagine. I've not gone through anything like that at all. And I appreciate you sharing it. Just like Jay.
I feel like that's what helps me connect with this environment. I feel like if there's anybody here, like, that would get it. I mean, I do have, I'm like, okay, like, how would I feel if my father's house was turned into a space like this? Like, what would the energies feel like? If you were haunting this place, seeing the picture of your demise next to your bed frame, things like that. I start to get psychologically involved in everything. And I think that it's very interesting, and the reason why this house holds on to a lot of its energy.
Yeah, no, for sure. So we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to show the promo, because why not? This will be a big shameless plug. This is so just to catch everybody up. There's a big live stream this weekend, 4 straight days, all kinds of different people coming in. And here's the promo. Let's take a look.
Lizzie Borden took an axe, gave her mother 40 whacks. When she saw what she had done, she gave her father 40 whacks.
It was the crime of the century, a horrifying and gruesome double murder that, after more than 100 years, is still unsolved.
Mr. Borden and his wife were brutally hatcheted to death early in the morning.
Hi, Danielle.
These 2 victims were butchered.
Join us at the house where it all happened. One of the most haunted locations in the world.
There's a residual energy that's here.
Footsteps,
there's your bedroom.
That's my bedroom.
A lot of people see the toys being moved around.
There's a man there, and I don't know who he is.
On August 28th, The Dark Zone will stream live from the Lizzie Borden House for 4 consecutive days.
It is about the right size for most of the wounds on the Borden skulls.
Our experts will break down the murders and the trial. They'll discuss alternate theories and potentially overlooked suspects.
Uncle John's alibi doesn't hold water.
Join host Susan Slaughter and your favorite paranormal researchers as they search for answers to the crime and the haunting.
Hey, that was me.
Will the ghost of the house offer any clues? Will Lizzie herself make contact? Find out as the Dark Zone brings you.
That's where I'm at right now.
The Lizzie Borden Murder House. Live.
There it is.
That's it. Yeah, go to thedarkzone.tv.
Ooh, spooky. Well done. Well done. I'm going to just go back real quick because I want to show you one quick thing. Where were we? We're right about there. Okay. Hold that. Serious question for you and for anyone who's watching. Will Ferrell went back in time and had a baby with Abraham Lincoln, and that's the child.
Oh my God.
Yes?
Yeah, with crazy eyes.
Anyway.
Tell me he doesn't have a little bit of a crazy eye thing going on there.
There's a little bit of a crazy eye thing going on there.
Yeah.
It is the Lizzie Borden House. And so, yeah, you just saw a quick preview of what's going on. There's still tickets. You can get it. You can watch all weekend. Throw this thing on your big TV or whatever. So I was actually part of the Dark Zones event that happened at the Conjuring House. Yeah. Which was fun. That was cool. It's kind of cool. I love the idea that, hey, we're all locked in together. Many of us would love to be investigating right now and getting out there, but you really can't, but you can do this. So that's
yes.
Cool.
I think it's like really imperative that we have the viewership that we do, because that way there will be more eyes on our surveillance cameras. You know, that way, if anything were to happen, we would have people to be able to report it to us. Cause there would be times that like, I'm, talking to you. We have so many amazing guests, and my job is to host and, lead conversations and things like that. So at this point, like I'll be like more engaged with my, guests than I will be with, investigating this place. And, activity happens when it happens. You can't really like predict it. So it'd be great that, we have these cameras going the whole time. So anybody that wants to, if they can't sleep at night, or if they're on the other side of the world and we're sleeping and they're able to watch, with their cup of coffee on the other side of the planet, like Yeah, it would be great because we'll have like 24-hour surveillance, and we actually captured a lot of things that way at the Conjuring House. The Heinzens are awesome people, and they're also going to be guests. We have Andrea Perrin from who lived her childhood at the Conjuring House and wrote House of Darkness, House of Light, which was the Conjuring movies were based off of. You know, so it's really cool to like have them as guests again and talk to them about this location. And I wish I had the chance to go and actually visit the Heinzens at the Conjuring House, because I was only there like virtually with them too, as on the last event. I definitely want to check out that place in person.
Yeah, it's great. It's a great house. I mean, I've been in there several times. And yeah, the Heinzens are awesome, and it's really a charming house. But so is Lizzie Borden's. But the thing about Lizzie's that's different, I've been there a lot, like over the years. And when you walk in, it's like stepping back into 1892. Leanne has been meticulous about getting the furniture to match as best as possible, the wallpaper, everything. And so it's like this time warp, you know? If anybody's ever been to Gettysburg, I went to Gettysburg as a kid. I went there as an adult. After that battle, they never put in strip malls. They never put in streets or highways. Like, it stayed as it was. So when you walk those battlefields, aside from all the monuments, like that's what it looked like. And it's profound when you're there, because it's easy to kind of like project yourself back to the 1860s. Just like when you're at the Lizzie house, it's easy to project yourself back to the 1890s. So anyway, we will
paranormal activity. When that happens, it holds on to the energy. I mean, it keeps the memory of that era alive. And that's why I feel like a lot of these places are super haunted. I think if they were to build like strip malls and things like that on top of Gettysburg, it might stir up some activity, but eventually the constant population of people hustling and bustling and doing the mundane will muddy away that, you know, energy. Eventually it would just stifle the whole haunt.
Yeah.
I mean, I like that there are places preserved like this, and I very much enjoy that era, the Victorian era, personally. Like, I feel like my soul kind of comes from there.
Yeah, I get it. So we got plenty of Lizzie stuff. We'll talk about more. I've got a song to play at some point. As soon as I'm waiting for the muse. She comes down at some point and I grab the guitar. Or maybe it's when enough booze hits me that I'm just like, let's sing. It's like when karaoke seems to be a good idea. You know, you've had enough drinks. You're like, I can do this.
A lot more Coronas for that. You need to get into something a little bit harder, like some whiskey.
Not me. I was born without pride. Now, more about you. So, Susan, you were on Ghost Hunters International.
Yeah.
And you got to travel. To me, that's the best part. So do you have a favorite country where you were like, hey, this place rocks?
Well, I have favorite cities. Yes. Paranormally speaking, or
no, anyway, we don't have to talk about the paranormal. We can be off the clock for a little bit. It's okay.
Okay. Yeah. I love Prague in the Czech Republic. One of the most beautiful cities I've ever been to. I love New Orleans here, you know, in the States. I love visiting anything tropical. I mean, I did like Samoa, like West Samoa and American Samoa were two of my favorites. I loved Belize.
Central America, yeah.
Yeah, my mom's from Central America, so I do a lot of traveling in and out of Nicaragua because my mom's
Nicaragua. Look at the way you say that.
Nicaragua.
Bueno.
Bien.
Yeah, yeah. Pura vida. Well, that's a little bit north, but whatever. No, I get it. That's I love traveling, and I think that's the thing that makes you grow more than anything else, more than school.
I had a choice after doing Ghost Hunters Academy. They asked me, "Do you want to be part of?" you know, the domestic team, work with like Jay, Grant, Steve, you know, Tango.
And you were like, no, thanks. What else you got?
First of all, I, you know, knew Steve and Tango. We went through all the trials and tribulations on Academy together. I mean, they are my mentors.
Sure.
So I was like, I'm sorry, but I really want to go abroad. And I had traveled before. Like I said, I would go visit my family in Nicaragua. Like my stepdad was living in Amsterdam. Well, not Amsterdam. He was living in the Netherlands. I spent time over there. And the team that I was in in Miami, the lead investigator of that team was he was from the Netherlands, and they had a league of paranormal investigators in that country as well, which I ended up getting the chance to work with later on international. So I already had like an international connection with like other investigators. And I was like, this is my opportunity. And even going on Ghost Hunters International, I was able to go to Nicaragua, investigate some places that were involved with my family, because my great grandfather was a dictator in Nicaragua for 30 years, and his my grandfather, you know, after. So there's a bit of a history with my family in Nicaragua.
I don't want to talk about the paranormal anymore tonight. We're done.
Okay.
I want to hear about dictatorships, murders, and like the drug cartel that obviously someone was involved in somewhere along the way. A dictator for 30 years. Let's not skip over that.
Right. So there's a lot of like prisons or carcels in Nicaragua that were built by Anastasio Somoza, which is my great grandfather.
Yeah.
And he was not the most well-liked person. You know,
dictator.
There's a whole coup, and so there was this big civil war that happened between the Somoza family and the Sandinistas, and the Sandinistas were kind of like the guerrilla warfare. They eventually like assassinated and killed off most of my family. I have a really dark past, anyways.
Clearly, I don't know how you got into the paranormal. I would be like,
I know, like
a juggling clown who like gives poodles haircuts at this point. Like, how do you balance that darkness? My goodness, like that's a lot of
being a person that preaches like light and positivity. I feel like I'm here to settle karmic debt from my past. I think that's the whole purpose of me being born at this point.
Right.
You know, just be like a positive beam of light if I can. And I try to consider myself to be I consider myself to be kind of a healer in that way, you know, like and I think there's a reason why, like, it was literally after my father had passed away that all of a sudden things started falling into place, almost like he was guiding me in this direction.
Right.
And it was only about a year and a half after his passing that I ended up going on Ghost Hunters Academy. It was just everything serendipitously like fell into place. And and I was able, you know, to even go and investigate my family's past in Nicaragua in a paranormal setting too, which was really unique for me because that was the first time I ever traveled to Nicaragua, was with a television crew and a team of paranormal investigators where my family wasn't really involved, because every time I've ever gone there, because they're kind of like an affluent family and Nicaragua, I'm always getting picked up with like chauffeurs and security, always seeing the top 1% of like the Nicaraguan lifestyle, you know? And so when I went there, nobody knew whose daughter of who or granddaughter I was. I got treated a lot differently, you know?
Right.
Going to the country as an anonymous person without this big name in the background, you know? So I was able to see aspects of the country that I wasn't exposed to growing up with my family, going there since I was 7 years old. So, but I was able to like have my family come in. We investigated those prisons that was built by my grandfather, and we investigated some old fortresses that were built by, you know, the Spanish. So it was really cool. I mean, some of my favorite places that I've ever been, paranormal speaking, has been in Central and South America. I get a lot of, I don't know, I feel very close to that energy.
Right. And do you habla español?
Sí.
Sí.
Yo hablo español. Mi mamá es una maestra de español también. Yo hablo español muy bien, sí.
Yeah, je parle un petit peu français. Anyway, so when you're down there, this is what I always wondered, right? Because some of these ghost hunting shows that go international, I love it. They're in a country, like any country that doesn't speak English, and they're like, "Are there any spirits here, bro?" or whatever, and they're like, "Oh, it said yes." So let's do EVP in the native language, right?
We do. And we take the time. We have fixers in every country that speak English and the local tongue.
Right.
So I'm always sitting down with them, you know, usually at a bar, and I'll be like, how do you say the basic EVP questions, you know, in like that language?
Cerveza, por favor.
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
I get it.
Puedo oíste, or, que tú mataste, who killed you, and, things like that, just like, but that's Spanish and that's easier. And, but like, if I'm in like the Ukraine, like that's a whole other thing. Like I can't even read their font,
Right. Yeah, it's different. Yeah. Characters. Yeah.
Like all Russian.
Yeah.
But yeah, I tell you, I really miss traveling abroad and investigating locations that are, older than the history of the United States.
You know where I miss traveling? Anywhere.
Where are you right now? Where are you exactly right now?
I'm 1 hour north of you, just south of Boston.
I don't understand why we can't be like having this show together on this chase right here.
Because you're probably sick and diseased from flying in airplanes, and I don't want to end up like Jay.
I've proven that I am not.
That was before you got on the plane.
That's true.
Were you freaked out? What was it? What was the airport like? So when you land in Massachusetts, folks, you have to fill out this form saying you either have proof that you don't have the Rona, or you have to quarantine for 14 days. There's all kinds of things. It's a little scary, right? It's like,
and not only that, they're like totally spying on me. Every day I get a text message from the government.
You will for 2 weeks.
Telling me like, don't forget, we're watching you. That's exactly what it says. It's like, we are watching you, and you will pay us $500 a day if you F up.
A day.
A day.
Like, I'm just going to Lizzie Borden House. It's all good, bro. I swear.
Look, I played by their rules. I got, COVID testing. I filled out their form. I gave them my contacts. Like, I'm clean. I'm clean.
Right. Good. So, have a few sips because I'm going to play a song. The Muses. I think
I've been waiting for this whole time. This is the only reason why I said yes to this show, so you could play guitar for me.
That makes sense.
And I like, it's a classical nylon string acoustic.
It's not nylon string. These are real metal.
No, it's not. Oh, but strung nylon style. Okay, let's hear it.
Okay, so this is important for not just you, but you especially, because you're in the house. This is the most popular song ever written about the Lizzie Borden murder. And I believe there's like 4 songs that have been written about it, but this was the most popular, and it dates back something like 50 or 60 years. I got to look it up. But anyway, this is a little ditty. The room you're in right this minute. Do you see the piano or the organ?
It's there, but it doesn't. I have to.
Nope. You see the sheet music on it?
Yes.
Go get up. It's okay. Go get it.
How did you know?
Because I know. Read the title of the song for me, please.
You can't chop your papa up in Massachusetts.
You ready? Ready to hear it? Yesterday in Old Fall River, Mr. Andrew Borden died, and they got his daughter Lizzie on a charge of homicide. Some folks say she didn't do it. Others say, of course, she did. But they all agree Miss Lizzie B was quite the problem kid. 'Cause you can't chop your papa up in Massachusetts, not even if it's planned as a surprise. A surprise. No, you can't chop your papa up in Massachusetts. You know the neighbors love to criticize. Pretty good, right?
Yeah.
Right. Second verse. Okay. I got to read because I didn't memorize this. I just thought of doing this right before we started. Okay. Well, she got him on the sofa where he'd gone to take a snooze, and I hope he went to heaven because he wasn't wearing shoes. Lizzie kind of rearranged him with a hatchet, so they say. Then she got her mother in that same old-fashioned way. But you can't chop your mama up in Massachusetts, not even if you're tired of her cuisine. Her cuisine. Oh. You can't chop your mama up in Massachusetts. You know it's almost sure to cause a scene.
There's one more.
There's way more, but that's all I'm doing.
Oh, I'm glad I got that much. Okay. I was just getting the hang of it. I was going to start singing in tandem and like start harmonizing with you. And I was just getting the hang of it.
Yeah, no, I know. So yeah, You Can't Chop Your Papa Up in Massachusetts is the most popular song in that house. But yeah, there it is. That song lays it all out for you. And,
I know. Apparently, I asked. So there's that other song, the one that we play at the beginning of our promo.
Right.
And I asked Danielle about that. I was like, "Is it true that she bludgeoned her mother 40 times and
no.
one?" Yeah, exactly. No lies.
Yeah, like
lies.
17.
Let me put this back on the piano.
Yes, go ahead. So yes, that was there on the piano, and I remember seeing it the first time I went to the house, and I said, "This is amazing." And yeah, there you go. Bruce asked,
I'm so glad you learned that diddly for us.
Good Lord and gravy, Jeff. Where did you get that song? It's right there on the piano in the Lizzie Borden house, but it's been recorded by like a bunch of people. You can go Google it, get on YouTube. You can hear it done. Not anywhere near as good as I did it, but somewhat okay. And
someone has to have made that like a metal song at some point.
Oh, there is a metal song. Leanne, who owns the place and is right outside, I'm sure she's got like all the songs that have been written. There is like a death metal, like Lizzie Borden took an axe, gave her mother, right? Like it's awesome. So,
oh yeah, I bet I'm gonna look it up.
You should. Oh wait, there
is a band called Lizzie Borden, isn't there?
There could be. There could be.
I'm positive. I saw there's a picture over here. I mean, I've heard of Lizzie Borden. Aren't they like some 80s metal band? I might be wrong.
So yeah, here's Danielle. So Danielle says we get together on the front steps after the reenactment and we all sing it. And yeah, Danielle is correct. It was done by the Chad Mitchell Trio. Danielle works there. You'll be seeing her this weekend.
I saw Danielle earlier today. Hi, Danielle.
Hello.
I look forward to hanging out with her. Look, I got pretty. When I came in today, I was like wearing shorts and my face was a mess. And I was like, I got to get all cute and wear lace.
Yeah, I was going to wear lace too. But then I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to go with the old barkeep bow tie and all that other stuff. See, when you can't.
Yeah, we need to throw you in the Overlook Hotel with that outfit at the bar or something.
I'd be okay with that. I would be totally okay with that. So, yeah. So this weekend, you're going to be staying there. So, okay, cameras in every room. Are you a little worried about people and creepers watching you sleep?
I deal with creepers all day, every day.
Yeah,
living
but
and dead.
Like, what if you fart in your sleep and they're like, I think I heard an EVP. It was like, burp.
I'm only human.
No, I know.
You're going to see me get weird. You're going to see me pick my nose, my wedgies.
Yeah.
You're going to see me burp. Like, I hope that the audio can't pick up my farts. I mean, it's not smell-o-vision, so you'll be fine.
Right.
But
I mean, the flutter of the sheet, right? The
little burp.
Yeah, the burp.
Yeah.
Like, I heard it say, Lizzie. Right.
I have very dainty, gas passings. So I'm a lady after all.
Clearly. Yeah. That's well done. Well, I mean, people can tune in just for that. So what about like Bill Brock's farts? He's going to be upstairs?
I know. No, he's not. We're sharing the same floor because I don't like the third floor. The third floor is very heavy. Like I feel it in my chest. And I was like, well, I'll just take this room where where the stepmother passed away.
Yeah. That pass away is like, you went to bed and didn't wake up. When you get hacked to death with an axe, that ain't passing away.
I know. I'm just trying to be polite. You
No.
know? I don't want to. I'm sleeping in her room tonight.
It's not her room. It was not her room. She didn't sleep there. That was the guest room. You're okay.
Okay,
yeah.
But she died there.
Yeah, she did die there for sure, brutally. It's one of those cases too that what I love about this is like Lizzie was the O.J. Simpson of 1892. I mean, it was the case that everybody talked about. All the evidence pointed at her, yet she still gets acquitted. What the hell is up with that? And we're still talking about it all these years later. And now
there's probably a lot of things that happen under the table, people that were involved in ways that, maybe it was a monetary gain. I don't know. I mean, there's so much to speculate on this story, I think, which is why it's so fascinating.
For sure. And I know from dealing with that place for years, there's paranormal fans that go there. There's true crime fans. There's both, that are all trying to go there and solve that case. I don't know. It's really cool. It's really, really cool. And
so what about your stay here? Tell me, have you experienced anything unusual?
We're doing this now. Okay.
Yeah, I'm putting you on.
Yeah, fine. No, I've the first time I was there was I'm just guessing like 2005, maybe 6. And I was there on a Saturday night. We were doing a live radio broadcast, and the place was closed for some minor renovations. There was just 4 of us in the whole building. And my very first time there, I'm like, this is great. What a cool house. We're down in the basement, right at the bottom of the stairs.
That's where Bill is right now.
That's where Bill is.
That's his little creepy spy zone on the house.
That's a good place to keep him in general. So you right at the bottom of those stairs, and the way the house is built, there's a side door that leads right into the kitchen. There's a hallway to the kitchen. And we heard scampering footsteps, 2 sets of scampering footsteps, like right from that side door into the kitchen at like 11:30 at night. And we all looked at each other. All 4 of us are down there. And we went, oh no, like we weren't scared. We thought some kids from Fall River just broke in and we got to call the cops or we got to manhandle them out, whatever. We race up those stairs. It couldn't have been more than 4 or 5 seconds. And we're standing right at the top of the stairs and you look, there's no one there. We check the door. It's locked, just like we left it. And we all look at each other again and we just went, so, right? I mean, this place is haunted, right? I mean, it was, and having been there many, many times since, that's never happened again, right? It wasn't a cat. It was like, it was footsteps. Everyone I know that's been in and around that house a lot has had some kind of weird thing happen. One night I got to sleep over with Dave Schrader, which he'll be part of this weekend too. I was the big spoon that night, which was great because usually it's him. And
that's a lot to big spoon.
It's a lot to, yeah, for sure. So we were the only 2 people in the house because Hurricane Irene was coming, like that night, like arriving, not down the coast. I mean, like en route. And we did this event and everybody had to leave. And so he and I slept over. He slept in the room you slept in. You'll probably still smell him on the sheets, even though they've washed them.
I smelled something tantalizing and like my grandfather.
That's a little bit of me, a little bit of Dave, and a whole lot of despair. I was in Lizzie's room, which is just around the corner, right? That's the room I slept in. I slept like a baby, by the way. But yeah, it's a little bit weird. You're going to sleep and you're like, good night, Dave. Good night, Jeff. Right? And you're in the Lizzie house. It's a cool place. It really is. I'm psyched for you. I'm psyched for everybody that gets to watch it this weekend. It's gonna be a lot of fun. We'll shamelessly plug this one more time, and then this is gonna feel like an infomercial, so we got to stop. So there you go. Dark Zone, thedarkzone.tv. That's where you get your tickets, and you can join us. You can join Susan all week long. You can watch her sleep and fart and whatever else she does.
Yeah, pick my nose.
I would be picking.
There are no cameras in the bathroom, so
yeah, which is fair. That's good. Oh, you're gonna shower? You're fancy.
Yeah, Actually, there's a really cute bathtub upstairs. I really want to take a nice little bath in that. Because I didn't know what to expect, I brought kind of like my own like little at ease, like, metaphysical, psychic, like balming tools, where I'm just like, okay, I brought my bath salts. I brought things with intentions like, my quartzes and my protective stones and my Palo Santo. And I was like, if I'm having a tough day, like I was like, is there a bathtub? Because that's kind of how I wash the ghosts off me. Does that make sense? Like it's like a baptism that I do. And it doesn't matter if I have an investigation that brings like some real bad negative vibes, like I always, no matter how freaking exhausted I am, I don't care if the sun's coming up, I have that regimen that I do before going to bed. Otherwise, the second that I start to fall asleep and I make my brain malleable to like, that in between REM sleep, I feel like that's where the biggest attachments happen, like where you have, possessive wise. And I'm just speaking like, I'm not a psychic, but I'm an empath and I practice as a witch. And so I feel energies, but I just, in those instances, I was like, I can't go to bed and allow these attachments to stick with me.
Sure.
And if I go to sleep and my brain becomes susceptible to that, then I'll feel like they'll be able to stick even harder. And that could be tough. So I always have my things where I take my baths, with my moments. Do you have a thing after you go to places to like kind of wind down from?
I don't. But before we get to that, Joey wants to know, love your necklace. Is it quartz?
Yes, it is.
It is quartz. Good eye. Good eye. No, I don't have so much of a ritual. I'm what they call insensitive.
Okay.
I'll let you think about that. So, no, in general, I tend to leave things behind. I compartmentalize pretty much all parts of my life. So when I go to a place, even if I feel something or don't feel something, I can pretty much put it behind me and move on to the next thing. I don't know if that's a gift, a curse. I have no idea, but that's how I'm made. So I haven't really had that problem. I do want to talk a little bit about the witchy stuff, if that's cool. Unless you have questions for me,
I had a question just now for you. This
I'm
is
open
a
game. Go ahead.
Street, Jeff. Okay.
Yeah. Go.
So I was going to say, so how did you get into the paranormal then? Did you have any personal experiences? Are you a skeptic? Like, I'll tell you how I heard about you initially. You were kind of word of mouth. I didn't really know there. I for the longest time, and I'm talking years, like for 10 years, I thought maybe you were related to Michelle.
Everyone thinks yeah.
And so I was like, I was like, who is that guy? And then it wasn't until I'm a Gaia subscriber, and I watched George Norrie's show Beyond Belief, and then you came on, and then I started following you on Instagram. So I've actually, before this whole thing went down, when you texted me, I was like, holy shit, Jeff just texted me. I followed that guy on Instagram for the past year.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah, so it was really cool.
Yeah, no. So as a kid, I grew up in an old New England town, and my friends said their houses were haunted, and I knew Ed and Lorraine Warren since the time I was 12. So that certainly had some influence on me, but I always wanted to be a writer. That was my first and foremost. And the subject just kind of pulled me in. And I started with Halloween features for newspapers and magazines. Then I started ghostvillage.com back in 1999. Holy crap, right? 21 years ago. And then I started writing books, working for Ghost Adventures, doing my own thing. And it's not a career I planned. I woke up one day and realized this is where I am and this is what I'm doing. And it's cool. I love it.
I didn't think it was going to be a career for me either. It took me there. And I'm glad, because, I always felt like there was always this like, I don't know, this feeling in me that I had a purpose, and the saddest thing for an individual to go through in their life is to feel like they don't have a purpose. There's like, what's the point of this life, and I'm so glad I found my purpose, and that I can, work with so many different people in this, paranormal sphere and different capacities, so that's great. So you do that too, so you work in different capacities within the same sphere. And it's very like fun, where you don't get like pigeonholed so much, where you could be the writer, where you could be like, on camera, people are interviewing you like George did, that's great, because then, I love it.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I love it.
I do. No. And I like the diversity, and I like, because I'm a writer, I can chase whatever story interests me. And so whether it's my podcast or this or Ghost Adventures, whatever it is, like, it's just fun to have that diversity built in, because I get bored with any one thing for too long. So what's your other thing other than like paranormal? See, I'm already becoming the host. Go ahead.
You see, I like the second I was like, so that's why I'm the host.
Well, no, this weekend you have to ask me about Lizzie stuff. We don't have time to talk about personal.
Oh yeah, you know what? Never mind. Scratch that. I'll ask you. I'm like, that's right. Sorry.
There's no.
And I'll interview you then for that. It's your turn to interview me. Okay.
Whatever you want.
I'm passing the baton.
Pass the mic like a joint. So, no, you can ask me anything. And that's what this is supposed to be, right? It's supposed to be a hangout. We're not getting all formal on anything. But I was curious about living in LA and being a witch, a practicing witch.
I just moved from LA over to Joshua Tree, which is like the high desert.
Yeah.
LA is awesome. I loved living in LA. I went there the other day to get my COVID test, and I was like, I kind of miss LA, but I don't miss LA right now, because literally nothing's happening in LA. Like, the LA culture was cool because I have a day job, because the paranormal only, it has its seasons, it has its, wheelhouse that like kind of turns. It's like slow moving, especially when you start working on production. So you got to make money somehow.
Mm-hmm.
So I work at a music venue, and that was the first thing that got hit by coronavirus. So, like all the bands that would be on tour started falling off. They couldn't get from country to country, much less like tour out, you know, and get to LA to play shows. And so, yeah, I work at a music venue. I promote my own metal shows called Slaughterhouse, where I feature a bunch of like metal and black metal bands. And I was about to work on doing another Slaughterhouse, and then, you know, this whole thing happened, and we'll get back to that. So that's like, you know, that's what I do on my spare time. It's like the music, the paranormal. And then I also I work in a lot of horror features as well. Sure. And that, you know, because my background before, like, yes, I joined a team in Miami and I was investigating, but that was like a hobby for me. That's why it's so weird that it came full, you know, like I went to art school, like I was telling you about. I ended up like having to leave because of my father's untimely death. And I kind of put a lot of my artistic endeavors on the back burner, but I went to school for costume design and theater. That's so cool. I am a girl of the stage, and I did a lot of acting and musical theater at that. So I when I moved to LA, and, you know, at the time, Ghost Hunters International, like, got the axe, no pun intended.
I get it, because you're in the Lizzie Borden house. I got it.
So I had friends that, you know, I started working in music again. I started like styling bands and you know, doing things like that, you know, and I met a casting director, and she knew about my past. You know, she's like, you would be great doing like horror stuff. You love horror movies, you know, you love all that whole genre. So I just kind of fell into it in LA. And I did this feature film, that my first role ever in a feature film, I got cast as a lead. And it's called Sleigh Bells, which is a Christmas creature feature.
Love it.
And I did, and you have the Rocky Horror Picture Show behind you. So Barry Bostwick was my co-star. And
shut the front door.
Yeah, dude.
That's amazing.
So I fucking love, I mean, musicals, I'm telling you right now. Like, okay, like I love Dr. Frankenfurter, and of course Brad, you know, which was
asshole.
Like,
oh, sorry. Right,
exactly.
Did you call him an asshole?
His name, you have to call him an asshole.
Did you see him and you're like, hello, asshole? That's not
no, because, you know, he was Barry when I met him and not Brad. Actually, he plays Santa Claus in the movie, so
that's perfect.
And I'm on the naughty list, so we kind of have, like, you know, there's a little bit of this, but it's a Krampus movie. So it goes back to like my, you know, German heritage a little bit. So it was kind of cool. That was my first movie I ever did. And then since then I've done a bunch of other like independent horror films, and they've gone through all of the arenas. But that's what's like living in LA. It's like, okay, all of a sudden, like if you were on TV, now you're an actor. You're like, that's it. You go into film now. Yeah, and I was like, oh shit. Okay, cool. Like I'm super down with that. I like the weekend before coming out here, I played a desert witch in a black metal music video. It's for a band called Head Crusher, and we shot it out in the high desert. Some scenes over at the NOAA Purifoy exhibit and like other places, but yeah, it's pretty horrific and awesome. And I can't wait for that to come out. Yeah, I get to. That's how I like brush off a little bit of the paranormal sometimes, because when you live in the thick of that, it can really weigh you down. Sometimes you just got to do some creative shit.
Totally.
You know?
Nope, I get it. We all need our outlets. I mean, you know, I dabble on the guitar, and like I write other projects besides just the paranormal. And although some people might accuse you of being like, oh, come on, it actually keeps me. I know for me, it keeps me interested in the paranormal. If I just did all paranormal all day, I'd just burn out. Just burn out. So
it'll burn you out. People get jaded, and you know what? I've seen people turn into that. You know, and that's because they don't have their creative outlets. They don't get to be individuals.
What, Marvin? She worked with Barry, and her name is Susan. Christ on a cracker. You're right, Marvin. How did I miss that? Susan Sarandon, come on.
Yeah, hello.
Oh,
I also worked with Diane Salinger, who played in Pee-wee's Big Adventure. She was Simone.
That's pretty good, but not Rocky Horror good.
I know, that's true.
Anyway, Susan, I'm almost out of beer, which means we must be almost out of time.
Well, you've been drinking that real slow.
I have, because when I first started doing these way back in March, I was going through like 2 or 3, and I'm like, I can't keep this up.
Oh yeah,
Right?
because you get a little drunkies.
There's that. Yeah, I'm like, we're all going to be in AA after this like craziness. So yeah, that's what's going on. Listen, one more shameless plug. This weekend I'll be seeing you again. I'll be on Saturday early evening. I forget the time.
Yes.
I think it's like 6 o'clock or something. But there it is. TheDarkZone.tv is where you get your tickets. Lizzie Borden Murder House, 4 days of streaming. You can leave it on and go to bed. If you wake up to like get a snack, you can be like, oh, there's Susan sleeping, and then right on the sheets.
A little fart blanket, yeah.
Little fart blanket.
Get ready for the tables to turn when I get to host you.
All right.
And then ask you all the questions.
At that point, I'll be on. I won't be like just subdued like I am now. I'll be like, let's do this.
This is subdued? Okay.
This is at like a 4, right? Like I'll be ready by then.
You're going to be like level 11.
Yeah, we're going to go right to 11. I'm going to bring the guitar. Every question you ask me, I'm going to answer in song.
In song. And you know what, if you don't, like, we're cutting our interview short. So
no, it'll be easy.
Expectations.
Yeah, I'll just be like, I was in the basement, right? Like there'll be this whole thing. It'll be epic. So good times, good times.
Words for me.
All right, folks, check us out this weekend if you can, if you want to. And of course, if you want to follow us, there's me on Instagram and Facebook. There is Susan on the Instagram, which is going to catch on one of these days. And yeah, if you want to tip your bartender, there's Venmo and PayPal, because Susan, it's come to that. It's come to that where we're working for tips at this thing. So good times, good times.
Happens.
Everybody else, I will see you sometime next week. Susan, I will see you sometime this weekend. And for everyone, please take it easy.